In this video, we're going to talk about what you should do if you find Russian cases difficult. We're going to talk about a 5-step mental framework that you can apply in order to learn all the cases well and apply them well into your speech. Я уже 6 лет изучаю русский язык, и в это время я кое-что узнал насчет русских падежей. Давайте начнем. The first thing that is very important that you understand very well is that Russian cases are arguably the most difficult part of learning the Russian language. So what implications does this have? It means that if you find it difficult, it means that everyone finds it difficult. So at a certain point you're like, this is just too difficult, I'll never understand it, there's something wrong with me, why can't I understand this? Then it means that everyone has that, and all you need to do is understand that and accept that it's going to be difficult for you. It's going to be difficult to learn it, and then just continue. Like, take it easy, don't worry too much, don't take it too seriously, because once you get this down, everything else, all the other grammar parts will be much easier. And of course it's difficult because in English we do not have any of those cases. Well, the only thing that we have that resembles cases are like I gave her a present and she gave me a present. So it's like I, me, and she, her. So if you as a native English speaker try to learn Russian, which has 6 cases, then and you have never learned like a language like German before, then it's going to be incredibly difficult. Just accept it and deal with it. And don't take it too seriously. The second thing that you have to understand is that you do not need to learn all the Russian cases in one go. This can sometimes happen if you, for example, you follow a class or you look up how to learn Russian online and you quickly find out that, okay, so there are 6 cases and you need to learn all of those cases, which can be overwhelming to say the least, because there are 6 cases which are masculine, feminine, neuter, and all these 3 are in singular and in plural. Then you have all the pronouns that you need to learn, and then you also have all the adjectives which also work again for masculine, feminine, neuter, and plural. So it's just a lot of things to learn, and the best way to handle them is to take a systematic approach. So the third thing is that you should take a systematic approach. So how do you do this? It's actually not that difficult. It just means that you should take them systematically, one by one, so that every single time you're focused on one case, so that this one case you can understand it well until you get to it, until you understand the case for, let's say, about 80%, and then you continue to the next case. And then you also learn that case till, about where you understand the basics, and then you go to the next case, and then you repeat this system till you understand all the cases. Now, we don't learn it completely to 100% because that is kind of not practical, because in the end, if you want to learn, for example, the accusative case like a fully 100%, it basically means that you also need to understand the genitive case, because the accusative case for animate nouns is the same as the genitive case. So it's kind of like this thing where you make sure you understand the gist of one case and then continue to the next case, and while learning the next case you also learn more about the previous case. So it's kind of like this gradual mountain that you go up, and then you understand everything well. So which cases do you learn first and which do you learn next? Let me give you kind of like my framework. I would recommend to start with the nominative case because it's kind of not really a case, it's just a, the standard way how you can find a noun. Second case to learn is the accusative case because it's relatively easy, but especially, for example, like я хочу воду, instead of вода it turns to воду, and then just kind of leave the animate part of the accusative case, leave it for now, and just like the plural part, and then you focus on the prepositional case, because in most cases basically you just add yeah to the end or switch the last letter to yeah. Then you go to the genitive case. You go to the genitive case because it's arguably the most widely used case from the 3 more difficult cases, and this one is going to be difficult. This is the most difficult case of all the Russian cases, so once you have this down, the rest will be easier. After the genitive case, you go to the dative case because it's relatively easy and still quite widely used. Then you go to the instrumental case because it's a little bit more difficult when to exactly use it. And those were all the 6 cases. So that's the framework, like nominative case, accusative case, prepositional case, genitive case, dative case, instrumental case. So in the 4th step, we actually need to discuss how you are going to learn those cases. And in my experience, I found that there are basically 2 ways that you can learn Russian grammar and Russian cases. The first thing is if you go to real life classes, where you just have a teacher that explains to you, okay, so this is the case, this is how it works, this is how the ending changes, and it changes in these situations. The second thing that you can do is listen to audio lessons, which is basically a recording of the same teacher explaining it to you, how and when to use those cases. I personally very much prefer audio lessons for a couple of reasons. Because first of all, they allow you to progress at your own speed, because with classes there most of the time there's just one slow person and the entire class takes the speed of the slowest person, and if you're watching this video you're likely not the slowest person in a Russian class. Second reason is that it's just cheaper. It's just cheaper. So basically you can learn faster and it's cheaper. So I highly recommend you learn Russian cases with audio lessons. If you want to learn all these cases in the next 30 days, check out my challenge, the 30-day conversational Russian challenge, link in the description, which will help you learn all these cases in the next 30 days. So once you've listened for like a couple of weeks or a couple of months to audio lessons and you got, you understood most of the cases well, then you're ready for step 5, which is basically refinement, which is to make sure that you understand the cases like to a high point where you can actually apply them while speaking correctly most of the time. And this is the point where you start to incorporate advice and teachings from many different sources. I highly recommend in the beginning, if you learn something, to very much just focus on one single source instead of, oh, I'm gonna look up a YouTube video about the genitive case and then I'm gonna search on a search engine, to give some ideas how exactly it works. Then I'm gonna listen to part of a case. And you get all these different inputs, and in the beginning it's much better to focus on one single class or one single type of audio lessons, one single course in order to understand everything well. But once you understand the basics of it, then it's good to start checking out different sources to see exactly how they explain the different cases. Because in the end, if you want to learn something well, we as humans, we do well if we learn something from different angles with different examples and different nuances, which means that, for example, like the genitive case, you don't completely understand it the way one teacher explained it, so then you just go on YouTube, look up the genitive case and watch a couple of videos where other Russian teachers explain you how to learn the genitive case. Then you go to Wikipedia, look up the genitive case, and you see all those very nicely done tables which explain exactly which ending, like how all the masculine nouns, how they all change their ending to the genitive case. And this will then help you fill in the missing puzzle pieces of you understanding the genitive case. Спасибо вам огромное за просмотр. Я желаю вам удачи с изучением русского языка. До скорого!